Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Going to call the meeting to order. Number one.
Minutes of City Council meeting, October 28th, 2019.
Councilor Arce.
President. Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion to accept and place on file is made and seconded. Any discussion of the motion? Discussion? All in favor? That is approved. Number two.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for an LED sign special permit from Poignant Signs on behalf of McDonald's at 155 Boston Post Road West, order number 19-100, 7808.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. 1, public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor. Please step forward and state your name.
My name is Christopher Ram.
And state the project.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Project?
The project is for new digital menu boards at McDonald's.
Digital menu boards at McDonald's.
Correct.
Yes.
You have the
This is at
155 Boston Post Road. I'm sorry.
Okay, 155 Boston Post Road West.
West, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And you want to put in new digital?
Yeah, basically what they're doing is, in all of McDonald's, they're upgrading from their stagnant menu boards, which, you know, are just lit box signs, over to a digital menu board. This way here, they can change it from inside, change it twice a day. They don't have to print out every time they change the menu or the prices. They don't have to print out new formats. They can just put it in digitally. It's not meant for showing movies or advertising or anything like that. It's just their menu boards. And they're upgrading them, like I said, throughout the Northeast. So.
Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just want simple clarification. These LEDs are strictly for drive-through?
Strictly for the drive-through.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Councilor Delano.
Mr. President, this is an urban affairs. We'll take it up expeditiously, and should be a quick approval process.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and this will be in urban affairs. Thank you. Number 3.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for a fuel storage license from One Energy, Inc. for underground storage of 24,000 gallons of gasoline and 4,000 gallons of diesel fuel at 121 Bolton Street, identified as map 57, parcel 289, order number 19-100, 7823.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. First, public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor.
Thank you, President Clancy. Councilors, Brian Falk from Myrick O'Connell, here on behalf of the applicant, One Energy, Inc. Here with me tonight is Mark Dyer-Bakerly from One Energy and engineer Paul Sylvia from Ayub Engineering. We're seeking an underground fuel storage license for 121 Bolton Street. From our special permit application, I know you're all familiar with the site and the project, so I'm going to be as brief as possible. This is really a belt and suspenders application to ensure that there's a license in place, with the old tanks gone and new tanks being brought in. We're installing 2 state-of-the-art fiberglass tanks, each with 14,000 gallons storage capacity. 24,000 gallons will be gasoline and 4,000 gallons will be diesel. The tanks are part of One Energy's plan for the site, converting the existing gas station to a garage to a new station with convenience store. Again, you're all familiar with the site and the project from our special permit application. We're happy to discuss this further, but we're also happy to turn this over to questions.
Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Second, questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Seeing none, I declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and it is in public services.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Number 4.
Now's the time set for the public hearing on the application for pool table license from Adam Krasinski of Tackle Box Brewing Company, LLC, 416 Boston Post Road East, order number 19-100, 7839.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor.
Hi, my name's Adam Krasinski. I'm the owner of Tackle Box Brewing and one of the co-owners of Strange Brewery on 416 Boston Post Road East. We're looking for an application for 2 pool tables that we purchased and resurfaced from Fireflies that we have in place now.
Okay, so 2 pool tables. Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition. Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council? Questions from the council? Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is located in Ward 1, and for people who don't know, it's the old laser tag location. And I felt as ward councilor it was my duty to go in and sample their wares, which are excellent, I will tell you. And I just hope, Mr. President, that the council can find their way to approve this expeditiously. They went through a very difficult process with initial permitting. I'd like to see them do everything to contribute to their success. And if we can help, that'd be great. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the council? Councilor Landers.
It is in public services, and we will move rather quickly on this. I just don't know. Do you give lessons along with? Do you give lessons along with it? I noticed you got 2 tables, so there's 3 people on the committee. So
Yeah.
a few lessons. See if we can speed that process up. But Mr. President, we will move on this rather quickly.
Yeah, Councilor Oram.
Just a question. Obviously, you have a large space. Will you be looking for additional pool tables down the road?
No,
No, this is it.
just these 2.
And just a reminder, the games were 10 cents a game a few years back. Hopefully you can compete with that. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and this will be in public services. Number 5.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for a special permit from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of David Scarron to construct a new residential community to be known as Trailside Terrace at 19 Ash Street, order number 19-100, 7809.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor.
Thank you, President Clancy, councilors. Brian Falk from Myrick O'Connell, here on behalf of the applicant 119 Ash Street, LLC, manager David Scarron. With me tonight is David Scarron, engineer Bruce Salick, and architect Larry Reeves. This is an application for a Section 6 finding special permit to convert the existing contractor's yard at 19 Ash Street into an 11-unit townhouse community called Trailside Terrace. That's right along the rail trail. We're also seeking a special permit to convert the existing historic home at the property into a 2-family home. We believe this would be a significant improvement to the property and the neighborhood with a visible location along the rail trail. We were here before you last year with a similar version of the project, and at that time we were seeking an overlay zoning amendment. I know some councilors weren't comfortable with that concept of an overlay along the rail trail, and so what we've done here is it's the same type of project, but it's site-specific. This only pertains to 19 Ash Street. This isn't a zoning amendment, it's a special permit. We believe the proposal meets the legal standard for a special permit and a Section 6 finding, as the new use would be no more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use, which is a contractor's yard. In fact, we think the new use would fit in much better with this residential neighborhood. We've already met with the City Site Plan Review Committee, and we received favorable comments with just one small item to address. Just to walk you through where we are, again, this is the satellite image. The rail trail is on the left side, and there's the contractor's yard, which is plainly visible from the rail trail. You may be familiar with it if you've walked along. And this is what we're looking to do. I think goes without saying, a significant improvement to the current use of the site and a much better fit with the neighborhood. I just wanted to briefly turn things over to David Scarron to walk you through a lot of the abutter outreach he's done to make sure neighbors are comfortable with the project.
Hello, President Clancy. Thank you, Council, for letting me come in and speak. My name is David Scarron. I'm the owner of 19 Ash Street. I was born and raised in Marlborough, and I'm currently still working in Marlborough, so I've never really left Marlborough. My parents moved us there in 1978. My father fell in love with the rackety old shack so he could run his landscaping company out of there. I don't know how many of you were around at that point, but the property, from what I hear, because I was only 3, was in pretty rough shape. He took a lot of debris out of there to clean it up at that point. But my mother really fell in love with the anti-colonial farmhouse that was there, the post and beam structure, and so it was kind of a mix for both of them that worked out perfect. Well, 40 years later or so, it's kind of run its time, and it's not really the right fit for our family at this point. And we've talked about it over the years, my father and I, about what the best use of this property would be. He looked into it a little while ago. It wasn't the right timing for him. He wanted to move out west because Marlborough was way too busy. But basically, we decided that this type of project would be the best use for the property for the neighborhood. So in doing this, I went around and talked to all the neighbors highlighted I did talk to. The ones in green are ones that are definitely in favor of our project and have, either signed a petition or voiced concern, approval that they were on board. You can see there's one blue one. That was a woman who was selling her house, so she thought that the new buyers should decide, whether it's something that they would like or not. I did have the pleasure of actually meeting them this weekend and talking to them, and they thought that it was a good idea and a great fit. They're still unpacking it. It's a little hectic for him, but he said as long as it doesn't affect his the noise level or any of his sun exposure, he's all for it. The gray one, no matter how many times I knocked on the door, they have long working hours. I talked to the son. The son's made it sound like the parents were on board, but I never got an official answer from them. And I did have one sort of opposer over there in red. I guess their main concern was more that it was going to have a negative impact on their property values, but I don't see that, but we all have our own choices. But I have a lot of the neighbors that have either already reached out to the council and with letters or phone calls to voice their approval, and I also have a couple here in the audience today that might speak on my behalf or just here in case I need someone to talk. So I appreciate your time, and I guess now I'm going to turn it over to Bruce Salick.
Thank you. My name is Bruce Salick from Bruce Salick and Associates. We did the civil engineering on the site and also the planting plan. I'm just going to give you a quick, brief overview of the site. It's just under 2-acre property. There's an historic house on the property. There are some buildings, a lot of equipment, some trucks and that sort of thing. Most of the site in the rear, other than the house site, is non-vegetated. You're probably familiar with it. But the site has some unique features on it, and that is that it has approximately 420 feet of rail trail frontage, which we would like to create like a beautification plan, bring it before the city, and do some plantings all along that side. Now, originally, we were talking about putting a fence up along the rail trail, but after some discussion, we thought it would be actually a better plan for, as far as viewing goes and beautification goes, not to have a fence there, but instead to line that whole rail trail section with some perennials and some other like ground cover vegetation, that sort of thing. And as you know, the Scarrons, they're in that type of business. and that the condition would be that the condominium association would be responsible for maintaining the perennials and that sort of thing. Because that's the unique feature about this property. But just to give you a rundown, so the property is going to have 13 units. All the units are going to be 2-bedroom units. All of the units will have a garage, a 2-car garage on them. And there will also be parking in front of the garage. As a matter of fact, there will be 49 parking spaces on the particular condo site itself without any parking being used on a road. So we have 49 spaces, and by code, 39 are required, so we're providing well above the requirement for parking out here. In addition, we have as you can see, there's a turnaround that's on the right side as you're going into the site. It's for truck access for a turnaround. So they call it T turnaround, so they can, big truck and fire truck can get in there, no problem at all. The property, there's plenty of areas in the property for snow storage. We also have the benefit of having a drainage, small grass swale that runs along the rail trail that we're going to be able to tie in any drainage that's coming off the site. As a matter of fact, we're going to reduce the peak flow that's coming off the site in under existing conditions. We submitted a 150-page drainage report to Tom DePercio, the city engineer, for his review. The site will be have a 330-foot long road, 24 feet in width. The construction will be upscale. It'll be granite curbing. There will be plenty of plantings that will be done. We're going to have a lot of river birch, aspen, pink spires, red cedar. So we're going to have 65 trees. There's going to be some additional perennials along the rail trail. And so we're looking forward to meeting with the city to go over and have an approved plan for the perennials along the rail trail. So Larry Reeves is here, so he's going to discuss the architectural features of what is being proposed. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for taking a look at this with us. I'm Larry Reeves. I'm the architect on the project, and we've been working on the project for quite a few years now. And really, the biggest thing that we began with was the goal to really take the existing house and rework it, reclaim it, bring it back to its sort of original glory, and refit it as the two-family that it had originally been built as. It's morphed over the years, has a lot of additions and such. We will be taking down some of the really derelict additions that over time have not done well, but they were not original to the historic home. So we'll take those out. On the site, just as a quick reference, we are putting a 2-car garage on each side of the house. One is on the uphill side and off the existing driveway, and the other is by easement from the low end, which kind of brings that down. It reduces the scale of the construction of that as well. And what we've done then is we've taken the nature of the existing house and developed effectively duplexes with one 3-plex on the site for a total of 11 units. And the first was the Ash Street view, and then as you come onto the site into the driveway, was the next, and then the second building is the front. We then have the rear views off of the rail trail. This would be the general view of the second building, and then I think we have the first building as well. So we do have a walkout condition on all the units along the rail trail, and on the uphill side we have an additional 4 4 units in duplexes that are garages under, and then the view from Ash Street, effectively from kind of the driveway of the Universal parking lot, I think, is this view, but very near the intersection of the bike trail. That you can see we are looking at a mix of fences and landscape along the trail and a buffer. We have about a little over 40 feet, pretty consistently 40 plus, from the edge of the trail itself to our decks or patios or whatever we have for the condition. So that gives us a nice buffer to work with, and that 40 feet is split about half and half between the rail trail easement property and our property. So I think from there, I think we're good to go. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to mention, again, we had met with Site Plan Committee, and we also met with various department heads offline. The sole comment we got after meeting with Site Plan was to install additional flowering landscaping along the rail trail, which we've since incorporated into our site plan. Beyond that, the Site Plan Committee was happy with the proposal and was looking forward to further review through formal site plan review, which would come after the special permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor?
Before I speak, is it possible to put up that plot plan that shows the property line? Plot plan. My name is Joseph Bezal, 212 Hudson Street.
Is that?
My wife Catherine is with us.
Is
the microphone on? You have to get closer, Joe.
Joseph Bezal, 212 Hudson Street, and my wife Catherine. Our property.
Joe, you have to
take the mic with you.
Our property is. I like the other one better. What happened to it? Our property is located right here. We have been neighbors of the Scarron family since they moved in 41 years. They've always been very good neighbors, The only concern we raised when we reviewed this with David was regarding screening on the property line. Currently, there are a row of pine trees, and through the years, they've kind of deteriorated in condition, so we have suggested to David Scarron, our preference would be on our property line, would be to remove the existing pine trees and to put up a fence that was consistent to what we currently have on our property. So I don't know if that's something that needs to be done in the special permitting process, but I would like to have that officially as one of our requests.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Seeing none, to declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Seeing none, to declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council. Questions from the council. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. A quick question in the historical part of the multifamily. A time frame, what prompted it from going from a use code of a multifamily to a single family 101? Any history on that, or what prompted that originally for that change? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know the history of when it was converted, but I know it was built in 1790, and when we moved in, it was already in the single-family use. Yes, there was already in single-family use at that point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other questions? Councilor Joelle.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of you gentlemen talked about an easement for the two-car garage that's going to be attached to the existing house. If you could just have, when you come to urban, how that's going to work out, where you need the easement from, and some sort of drawing or something showing the garages.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just want one clarification. It appears that there's going to be no path access from this development directly to the rail trail. Is that true? You want to get up there to talk?
Somebody.
Yes.
Really, the proximity, we do expect some informal connections between buildings on site, but we don't have a formal connection that's going to be encouraging sort of folks to come off the trail and up into the site directly. Right. But I think, though, we should be looking, I had mentioned this, but we should maybe look at more of a sidewalk connector from the trail to along Ash,
right,
and
right.
You know, whether that can be continued in some manner later.
I'm thinking that, you know, as an issue for the people who live there, not necessarily for the people from the rail trail, right, but to get them easy access to it, I think the sidewalk would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, great, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, to declare that part of the public hearing closed, the entire public hearing, and this is in Urban Affairs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along. Number 6.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for special permit from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of Marlborough Hospital and UMass Memorial Realty, Inc. to add a new women's imaging center and seeking a finding to alter a pre-existing non-conforming use and alter the pre-existing non-conforming lot coverage from 48.2% to 49.2% at 157 and 209 Union Street, order number 19-100, 7824.
This public hearing will be held in 4 stages. Councilor Roby?
Thank you, Mr.
Gonna be
President.
recusing?
Before the public hearing begins, please have the record note that I am recusing myself as an abutter.
So noted. Councilor Roby is recusing herself. Okay. First, this public hearing will be held in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the council. First, public speaking in favor.
Thank you, President Clancy, councilors. Again, Brian Falk from Myrick O'Connell, here on behalf of the applicant, Marlborough Hospital and UMass Memorial Realty. Here with me tonight is Ellen Carlucci and Paul Ruggieri from UMass Memorial Marlborough Hospital, Neil Emmer from LWDA Architects, and Randy Myron from Boulder Engineering. This is an application for a special permit for a women's imaging center at the hospital campus at 157 and 209 Union Street. This would be an approximately 4,000 square foot building on the hospital's overall campus with its own dedicated parking spaces. We're seeking both a traditional special permit for the medical office clinic use and a Section 6 finding special permit for the hospital's pre-existing non-conforming use in the A3 zoning district. The council issued a similar special permit for the hospital's cancer pavilion in 2011. We believe this proposal meets the legal standard for a special permit and a Section 6 finding, as a new use would be no more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. We have already met with the City Site Plan Review Committee and received favorable comments with just one small item to address that we've already incorporated into our plans. Just wanted to turn things over briefly to Ellen Carlucci to describe the project and how it fits in with the overall hospital use.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to all of the city councilors for giving us this opportunity to speak with you tonight. We have been located at 157 Union Street since 1913, and we are a community hospital. And that being said, we deeply want to thank all of the city council through the years for providing us tremendous service for the fire, the police, the DPW, in terms of keeping our roads clean, and it wouldn't be possible for us to be able to provide the services that we provide if we didn't have your support through the years. And we are looking forward to having your support for this project. I also want to thank, on behalf of the trustees and all of our caregivers and our patients at the hospital, to our president, who has also served as our district counselor for many years. So I just want to, again, thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. And I just want Paul Ruggieri to briefly tell you what services we will be bringing to our main campus in order to provide better care for our patients in the community. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paul Ruggieri, and I'm the director of the diagnostic services at Marlborough Hospital. With our new center, we will actually be incorporating a comprehensive women's imaging, concentrating on breast imaging primarily, back to the hospital campus. Currently, our outpatient location is in Southborough, and we've heard from the community through the years that our patients and their families had wished that the services would be located back at the main campus because of the convenience of the location and the adjunct of all the other services that our patients are using as well. With this new center, we will have a complete breast imaging center, which will include 2 3D tomographic breast mammography systems that will be used for screening mammograms as well as diagnostic and biopsy services. In adjunct to that, we will have 2 ultrasound rooms that we will be running as well that will enhance the services to our patients by allowing our patients to go from mammography to breast imaging, simultaneously or very close within their appointments. In addition to that, we also plan to include a very new technology that's very state-of-the-art. We're actually the only the only hospital in central Massachusetts to provide this new technology that's called ABUS. It's called Automated Breast Ultrasound Screening. And it's done for the population of women who have dense breast tissue, which make up 42% of the population who undergo mammography. And because of that very dense breast tissue, they can hide cancers that are sometimes hard to see on even a 3D tomo mammogram. So we'll be bringing that over as well. We're also going to partner with a vendor who will help us to do some genetic screening on our patients. If they wish to have those services, we'll provide them with some information where they can answer some questions and see if they are a candidate, to see if they have any predisposed genetic indicators that could possibly allow them to find cancers sooner in their care. We also will have bone density, which, as most of you know, is very helpful to postmenopausal women in particular because of the estrogen levels that go down during that age, and it causes the bones to become very brittle and osteopenia or osteoporosis. So we also will provide that service as well. We'll have radiologists on site as well as several technologists to run the equipment, a supervisor, and we will be in compliance with all the regulatory requirements that go along with the program. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. Randy Myron with Bowler Engineering. I'm just going to touch quickly on the site plan. As Attorney Falk had mentioned, it's part of the UMass Hospital campus at 157 Union. It's about 19.5 acres in total, the campus. And if you're standing on Union Street, kind of facing the main entrance to the hospital, it's the driveway furthest to the west where this new women's center will be located. Again, as Brian had kind of hinted on, it's a 4,000 square foot women's center. It's a fairly small project itself. There's a small parking area, 16 parking spaces, along with some new sidewalk connections to some of the adjacent to some of the parking that's already on the hospital's campus. There's also a small a patient drop-off area, kind of in the front of the building. To make it a little bit more convenient for patients to be dropped off. As Brian had mentioned, we did meet informally with the site plan review committee. Their one comment was to add a sidewalk from the back right corner of the building to the existing sidewalk on Union Street. The plans filed with you do not show that sidewalk. However, we will be adding it. And I guess, just beyond that, in terms of just a brief overview of the project, we will be, there'll be a new stormwater management system. As part of the project, there's a new underground infiltration system, so we will be meeting the Mass DEP stormwater standards, reducing runoff rates, improving water quality. There's fresh new landscaping being proposed. I believe there's 11 total trees along with 90 new shrubs. There will also be new underground utilities to service the building, new underground water, sewer, gas, electric. And there will also be some new lighting proposed as part of the project. It'll be dark sky compliant. We will limit any spillover onto the adjacent properties. And that's kind of generally it, just in terms of a brief overview of the site plan. I'll now turn it over to Neil Emmer. He will just briefly speak to the building architecture.
So I'm Neil Emmer, architect with LWDA. So the images that you see on the screen, the top image is the front of the building that faces the parking lot that Randy was describing. It's got a canopy over the entry, the doors. Again, the top image on the right-hand side, you can see a gray material. That material is shiplap cementitious board. The material that surrounds the entry is a cementitious panel board, and the brown material is a synthetic board that will match the cancer center. And the whole idea of the look of this building is to tie in to the hospital campus, excuse me, so it has this cohesive look to it. The image on the lower left-hand side is the rear of the building. That's where all the clinical things are, specifically the mammography space, so there's no windows there for privacy. The image on the lower right faces the main drive. There's going to be plantings there to soften things up and just make for a more natural look. If you go to the next image, so this is the floor plan. It's 4,000 square feet. The short distance is 50 feet by 80 feet. In the lower left-hand corner, you can see that's the entry vestibule. You'll come in, you'll sit there. The entire building conforms to the Department of Public Health requirements. So there's seating area, there's reception, check-in, check-out, and right beyond the seating to the right, there's the door to the clinical space, which constitutes privacy. The room on the lower right is the bone density room that Paul was describing. Then there's a reading room in blue across the corridor from the bone density room. Then beyond that, there's a consultation room, and then there's 2 ultrasound rooms, and between the ultrasound rooms, there's a bathroom as required by the Department of Public Health. And then in the top right-hand corner, there's 2 mammography rooms, and opposite that is a dressing area with 3 dressing rooms and seating. Again, for privacy, it'll be all enclosed. Then if you see in the blue spaces, that's kind of back of the house stuff. There's a mechanical room. That's in the top next to the second means of egress door. There's a staff lounge in that area. There's some office spaces, and as you can see right behind the reception desk, there's a administrative area and offices. So again, small building, 4,000 square feet. And the construction is going to be steel construction. It's going to be about 12'6" tall off the grade or off the slab. But again, it's meant to tie into the hospital, so it all looks cohesive, and that's really it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay, anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Come on up, Joe.
Beazall, 212 Hudson Street.
Closer to the mic, Joe.
Catherine. Oh, there we go. Okay. Joseph Beazall, 212 Hudson Street, and my wife Catherine. We've been neighbors of the Marlborough Hospital for 41 years. And we remember a time when the old Marlborough Hospital suffered some pretty severe financial times, and we thought it might even close. But the investment made by UMass Medical has turned it into a really first-class facility. We believe that this addition will just be another great addition to the city. I also serve as vice chair of the Council on Aging, and one of the most common problems we have is providing transportation for people that need to go to medical appointments. And this will certainly be a plus for the residents of Marlborough who currently have to find a way to get to Southborough for their appointments. So we do hope the council approves this project. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none, declare that part of the public hearing closed. Next, questions from the public. Questions from the public? Questions from the public. Seeing none, I declare that part of the public hearing closed. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Public speaking in opposition. Seeing none, I declare that part of the public hearing closed. Questions from the council. Questions from the council. Councilor Oro.
Thank you, Mr. President. The employee parking, will that be off the original 16 parking spaces, or will it be part of it?
It will be part of the 16. The intent is that that parking area serves this use, not intermingling, although the balance of the campus parking would be available to this use, but we designed the parking to serve this use.
And how many employees are expected to be working at this facility?
The 16 parking spaces are for the patients.
Oh, thank you,
The employees will park in the rear of the hospital, where we currently do not allow our caregivers to park in the front or any areas that would be better for our patients or the visitors to be using it. So when you look at the parking, our employees will be parking well in the back or well in the side of the campus.
Thank you for that clarification.
There's also a drop-off locations there.
Yes.
He needs accessible.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification on both the drop-off as well as, so you don't have to run up to the mic. Another question would be the employee base. How many employees are expected to be working at the facility? And I have one additional question, albeit I'm not grilling you. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, no, thank you. It depends on the day of the week, you know, which services we have and are offering, but at any given time there could be anywhere between 4 to as many as 12 employees in the building at the same time.
And then the other question, you showed a plan with the house next to it. Is that your house, or is that part of your campus? It looked like it, the way it was drawn. Yep, back to the green one.
Yes, it is. It's part of the campus. It's
great.
a home
So-
that we purchased years ago, but it's part of the campus.
So there's really no butter issues per se, because your butter is the campus.
Correct.
That house is on the campus. And again, as I said, I think it's a great opportunity for not just Marlborough Hospital, but for the city of Marlborough. And thank you for considering the city of Marlborough. You say we service you, well, you service us as well, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm sure every city councilor that sits here feels the same way. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Landis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick comment. I was quite vocal a few years ago when this imaging center moved out. So I have to be vocal now. I'm pleased it's coming back. I think in conjunction with the cancer center and this center and the fine hospital we have, it's just what Marlborough wants, is a nice community hospital. So I fortunately am on urban, so I think when it comes through we can
Any
push
other
this along.
questions from the council?
Thank you.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make sure that the applicants do everything that they can to get us all the information that we need. It would be my intention to have this done in one meeting. If we can do that, to have all the information there will make our job easier. And we are fortunate to have this coming into town. Really, this association with UMass has been a godsend to the residents of Marlborough. I certainly want to thank the management of the hospital, the board of directors, and all those that have done this. The multi-millions of dollars that have poured into Marlborough, the great quality doctors that are now resident at the facility there. We're really blessed, and so we want to keep that going and be as supportive as we can as they support our community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Any other questions from the council? Before we go, I just want to state the fact that I was born there a long time ago. A long time ago, when it was just a small building in the middle. And there's several of us that have been born up there. Yeah, several others. Okay, seeing there is no other comments, I declare the public hearing closed. This is in Urban Affairs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $13,226.30 from receipts reserved for TNC surcharge to capital outlay police equipment to fund the purchase of additional traffic enforcement equipment.
Councilor Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilor, so last year, so this is the money we get for Uber and Lyft rides that originate from the city of Marlborough. So last year, there were 8,400. So we got $8,400. And I asked the chief, so Chief, what'd you spend the money on? So they bought 2 portable radar devices, 2 laptops for the cruisers, various crosswalk signs, and biannual subscriptions for 2 traffic signs. I'm not sure what it is, but he spent all $8,000. This year, 132,000 rides originated from Marlborough. So of that, we get $13,226. And with council's permission, we let the chief spend it on, he's got requirements that he has to spend it on, and then he has to fill out the paperwork to show the state where the money goes. So with that, Mr. President, motion to approve the transfer of $13,226.
Motion to approve has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President, mentions portable speed bumps. I know many a city councilor sitting in here has probably asked the chief that, or the previous chief. It'll be interesting to see how those work.
Going to put on an Upland Road.
Well, that's one place you can start, and then we'll go over to your neighborhood too on Clinton.
Okay. Any other question? Any other comments? All in favor? It is approved. Number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding the OPEB trust liability update.
Mr. President.
Councilor Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. So councilors, so one of the things we do with OPEB is we get every 2 years we have a new actuarial study done. So I've tried to summarize with the comptroller the highlights of that new report. So I'll start. Downside is our net liability went up. It's now $129 million, but we've been paying into it, so it's really $118 million that we owe into that system. Now, the good news is our percent funded continues to increase. We're going in the right direction, which is very good news. Some of the reasons that the OPEB liability increased was the number of plan participants. And then I guess some not so good news in our pension side of the house. The retirement board's latest actuarial study has now been extended 3 years. We were supposed to be funded in 2025. It's now going to be funded in 2028. That's an additional $30 million we have to pay into the retirement system that was planning to go to the OPEB portion of the program. So that's a little disappointing. So shake all that in there in today's version, and we'll have this discussion in 2 years from now. The fully fund date for the OPEB is now going to be 2045. So no action for the councilors to take. The report is available if anyone wants to look at it. So, Mr. President, I make a motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 9.
Communication from City Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding the application for an LED sign special permit from Attorney Elizabeth McDonough Noonan on behalf of Colbia Enterprises LLC, 342 Boston Post Road East, in proper legal form, order number 19-100-7670A.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to move this item down to agenda number 20, so we can take it up at that time.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to move this to agenda item number 20 to be taken up at that time. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 10.
Communication from the Massachusetts State Lottery Commission regarding installation of Keno monitor at an existing Keno to-go agent, Pete's on the Main, 121 Main Street.
Mr. President.
Councilor Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That is approved. Number 11.
Communication from various retirees of the City of Marlborough regarding support for an increase in the COLA pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 32, Section 103J, Order Number 19-100, 7689.
Councilor Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion to accept and place on file is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 12.
Communication from Cynthia J. Gleason on behalf of Tiger Cat Properties, LLC, regarding a request for a 1-year extension of time on a special permit to construct a multifamily dwelling at 487 Lincoln Street, order number 16-17, 100-6735H.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, it's just about 2 years ago that the City Council approved this. And if you remember, it took us a little while. To be honest, I didn't love the proposal, but throughout the committee process, we made it better. I think everybody in the council agreed with me except for 10 of you. I think I was the only one who voted against it. But that being said, I think it'll turn out to be a decent project. They're asking for a 1-year extension. I see no reason not to give that to them. So I would move to approve the 1-year extension.
Motion to approve a 1-year extension. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I just find out, the only thing that I could find was that on September 25th, we approved an extension until December 31st of 2017, but I couldn't find that we actually ever approved a special permit.
We did, in fact, approve the special permit.
November 13th, 2017.
Right. I went back and looked at the old agendas.
I went through all the minutes, and I can't find it, so that's why
I can tell you, I went back and I looked through the agendas the night that we voted on that, I believe was the 7th. Was it 17th?
November 13th, 2017.
Thank you. So we did approve that.
I have a copy I can make available.
I've been looking through them all, and I couldn't find it. That's why I wondered how we could approve an extension when they didn't.
It was granted.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Number 13.
Minutes, School Committee, September 24th, 2019.
Councilor Jaware.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file agenda item number 13, the minutes of the School Committee from September 24th, 2019. Agenda item number 14, the minutes of the Commission on Disabilities, September 3rd, 2019 and October 1st, 2019. Agenda item number 15, the minutes of the High School Council, October 24th, 2019. Agenda item number 16, the minutes of the Retirement Board, August 27th, 2019 and September 24th, 2019. Agenda item number 17, minutes of the Traffic Commission, September 25th, 2019. Agenda item number 18, the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals, October 22nd, 2019.
Motion to accept and place on file is made and seconded for agenda items 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor? It is approved. 19.
Claims.
Councilor Jaware.
Refer to legal.
Motion made and seconded to refer to legal. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Reports of committees. I'll start off with Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met on Thursday, November 14th. We took up 3 items. Order number 19-100-7844, transfer of $322,873.25 from reserve for salaries account to fund the firefighters contract. The Finance Committee reviewed the Mayor's letter dated October 28th, 2019, requesting a transfer of $322,873.25 from the reserve for salaries account to fund the firefighters contract. The new contract covers fiscal years 19, 20, and 21. The Finance Committee voted 4-0 to approve the transfer request to fund, it says police, it should say fire, but contract for fiscal years 2019 and 2020. And the Finance Committee also agreed, Mr. President, to suspend the rules this evening to approve the transfer to fund the firefighter contract. Item number 2, order number 19-100-7818, a transfer of $150,000 from undesignated funds to DPW projects. The Finance Committee reviewed the Mayor's letter dated October 17, 2019, requesting the transfer of $150,000 from the undesignated funds account to the capital outlay DPW projects account. This transfer is part of a special permit for BSL development, otherwise known as the branches, requiring a mitigation payment to purchase a sewer easement parcel and subsidize the city's construction of a concession stand and bathrooms for the athletic field at the 1st Lieutenant Charles W. Whitcomb School. And the Finance Committee voted 4-0 to approve that transfer. And finally, Mr. President, regarding order number 19-100-7838, the new library update, the Finance Chair discussed the Mayor's letter offering a building committee to update the City Council on the progress of the new library. The Finance Chair met with the Library Director earlier in the week. The Library Director indicated the final design drawings will be available shortly. The renovation costs are still under budget. The The Walker Building will be used as a temporary location with a planned summer 2020 move, and the library renovation construction is planned to start in the fall of 2020. The Finance Committee acknowledged that a formal presentation to the City Council will be better served in the next legislative session when the new City Council is seated and the drawings are available. The Finance Committee Chair will ask the City Council to carry this order over to the next legislative session at the November 18th, 2020 City Council meeting. So, Mr. President, I will also ask for suspension of the rules in order to take up moving this item to the next legislative session.
Okay, so we have a request for a suspension of the rules for order number 19-100-7844. This is the transfer request for reserve for salaries account for the fund to fund the firefighters' contract. This is for the suspension of the rules. All in favor of suspending the rules? That is approved. Next, we have the
Order number 19-100-7844, transfer of $322,873.25 from reserve for salaries to fund the firefighters' contract, and the Finance Committee is recommending approval of this order.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. A motion to move the recommendation of the Finance Committee, which is to approve the transfer.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor? It is approved. Then we had the, did you want a suspension this evening to, do you want to wait till the 18th?
Yeah, I guess I'll recuse that. I'll just let it carry over to the next meeting because it's just easier then. It's,
okay.
Yeah. And then, so while I still have the floor, Mr. President, I will ask that the city clerk advertise the tax classification hearing scheduled for Monday, December 2nd at 8 o'clock, where we will be discussing all the neat things that we have in our budget and how that impacts the taxes for the next fiscal year. So advertise the tax classification hearing from Monday, December 2nd at 8 o'clock.
So noted. Thank you. Next is Urban Affairs. Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 4 items to report out, and I will be asking for 3 suspensions. The first was a meeting on October 29th. We took up order number 19-100-7763, application for site plan approval from Boston Post Road Realty, LLC, for the Green District project to be built in the Executive Residential Overlay District at 107 Cimarrano Drive. So if you recall, Mr. President, we have both site plan review that we needed to approve as well as the special permit. We took up the site plan review first, which is the far more complicated part of this proposal. There were 3 main items in question that we spent a fair amount of time on. And the first was, originally they were going to have what they called an emergency access road, and that was going to be gated on the side of the project. The council didn't really like that. The site plan review professionals didn't really like that. So we had some discussions, and there were a number of reasons where it made more sense to have that as just a secondary access road. And we also had a big discussion about whether or not it should be paved. If it was going to be paved, it was going to become a much bigger delay, probably a year delay, and none of us wanted to see that. So it was settled that there would be some type of gravel or other type of drive that would be done, maintained constantly and open to the public. The second was a left turn lane into the project from Cimarrano Drive. It was felt that for safety reasons, the driveway or the road should be widened somewhat, and that left turn lane should be built as part of the first phase. It was originally proposed to be part of the second phase, but we agreed to do that now. And then the third was somewhat technical. They had in their plan sidewalks that were to be around the inside of the project, but because they're made of stone dust, Councilor Roby pointed out that technically they're not sidewalks at all, but walkways. So we made that change amongst other various smaller things. But it was good cooperation, great job by our staff who really supported us, and I certainly thank them. And so we did move to vote, and we voted 5-0 to approve. And I will be asking for a suspension on that.
Sent to the solicitor.
To be sent to the city solicitor.
Right.
Want to do that now or later?
No, we'll do them all at once.
Thank you, Mr. President. On November 2nd, or 7th, we took up item number 19-100, 7738C. Communication from attorney Michael Norris on behalf of Renato Fontes regarding amendment to the proposed rezoning of land off 269 Mechanic Street, identified as map 56, parcel 125. If you remember, Mr. President, we had originally approved this only to find there was a slight flaw in the zoning request because there was a small piece of area that was owned by the city that was not being rezoned, and which they needed to rezone because the building's going to be on that part of it. It was all of 432 square feet. And so there was no objection from the city, and so the easiest way to do that was just to start the process over and include that 432-foot parcel. So that was approved by the committee, 5-0. Order numbers we took up on November 14th, order number 19-100-7780, application for special permit from attorney Brian Falk on behalf of One Energy Inc. to authorize the alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming gas station use to a gas station, convenience store, and restaurant/cafe use at 121 Bolton Street. We are all aware of this property. It was a terrible problem for the neighbors. Gasoline ran underground from leaks in their tanks, and it was going on for quite a while, and the owners, in my opinion, were derelict. The residents suffered mightily, and the state was of very little and very belated help, but eventually the properties were cleaned. We're allowing this reuse because we think it's going to clean up the property, and particularly because the neighbors are in favor of it. And so we went through a number of different items, making sure that the neighbors were going to be protected. We talked about the driveways and how we were going to do that. We thought we might go down to 2 driveways, but in discussions with our city engineer, the neighbors, and us, we decided to keep 3 of the driveways open. One of the reasons we were going to go down to 2 driveways was really to add more landscaping and get closer to the code, but we thought that the traffic took priority, so we're delegating essentially to the Site Plan Review Committee to come up with a design to try and minimize the driveways as they can reasonably do and increase the landscaping as much as they can. So with that, a motion was made by Councilor Jouer to approve, and the motion carried 5-0. And the committee also voted to request a suspension of the rules to send it to the legal department to be put in proper legal order. Lastly, on that same evening, we took up item number 19-100-7762, application for special permit from Post Road Realty, LLC, to construct a multifamily residential project known as the Green District in the Executive Residential Overlay District, which will consist of 475 units in 2 buildings at 107 Cimarano Drive, map 116, parcel 5, 11, and 12. So these will be built in two separate stages. So the first is to be finished in 3 years, the second in 5 years. This will be certainly financially beneficial to the city, taking in $1.3 million a year once they're fully constructed, in addition to mitigation of $2.8 million once they're fully constructed and get their occupancy permits. That money could go to a West End fire station or whatever the council decides down the line. So really, we did all the hard work in the site plan review part. So for this, there was very little to discuss. So it was a fairly straightforward process. And we did approve that by motion of Councilor Doucette, and we carried 5-0. And I will be asking for a suspension of the rules on that as well, to send to legal. I think that's all I have, Mr. President.
That's it. Okay, so we have a request for 3 suspensions for the various orders from the Urban Affairs. First order was order number 19-100-7763. This is for site plan approval to send to for Post Road Realty, the Green District, to send to the city solicitor. This is to suspend, to send to the solicitor. All in favor? Opposed? That is approved. Now, you have the request.
I move to send to the city solicitor to be put in proper legal form for our next city council meeting.
Okay. Motion is made and seconded to refer to city solicitor. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? It is approved. Next, We had order number 19-100-7780. This is an application for special permit for 121 Bolton Street. This is for, to suspend, to send to the city solicitor. This is on the suspension. All in favor? Opposed? That is approved. Now we have the suspension.
Move to refer to legal to be put in proper legal order for our next city council meeting.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to refer to the solicitor for the 121 Bolton Street. Any discussion? All in favor? That is approved. Next, we have order number 19-100-7762, X 19-100-7763. This is an application for a special permit for the Green District to send to the solicitor to be placed in proper legal form. This is for the suspension. All in favor of the suspension? Opposed? It is approved. Now we have the suspension. Okay.
Mr. President, I move to refer to the solicitor to be put in proper legal order for our next city council meeting.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to legal. All in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Okay, moving on. Now we have number 20. 20.
Order number 19-100-7670A, an application for a signed special permit from Attorney Elizabeth McDonough Noonan on behalf of Cobia Enterprises, LLC at 342 Boston Post Road East. It is the, recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee to approve.
Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Mr. President. This first came into us with dual requests, one for to allow pump top signs and video on the pumps, but once the council passed the ordinance to allow those things by right, we no longer had to consider that, and this became a straightforward request for an EMC sign, and it's fully compliant with the EMC and digital display ordinance, so it's pro forma, and we voted to approve. So I move the recommendation of the committee to approve, and if we can read, I don't even know if we have to read the conditions on the sign.
We'll read the conditions.
Okay.
The City Council, pursuant to its authority under the EMC and digital display sign ordinance, hereby grants the applicant a special permit for the sign subject to the following conditions, which condition shall be binding on the applicant, its successors, and/or signs. 1, the sign shall be operated in accordance with the EMC and digital display sign ordinance of the City of Marlborough and shall conform to the sign ordinance of the City of Marlborough.
Good thing we read that. But I move to approve, Mr. President.
To approve. This is a roll call.
Councilor Ossing.
Yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Yes.
Councilor Irish.
Yes.
Councilor Joere.
Yes.
Councilor Delano.
Yes.
Councilor Oram.
Yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Yes.
Councilor Clancy.
Yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Yes.
Councilor Landers.
Yes.
Councilor Roby.
Yes.
11 yeas, sir.
11 yea, it is approved. Councilor Ossing.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is made and seconded. All in favor? We are adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too.